Sometimes, depending on how big the video blows up, I will get a lot of comments and indirect messages with people asking, will you come here to do my floors? Will you travel this far? And the answer is yes. But you have to keep in mind, there's going to be additional costs for time, travel, somewhere to stay, food. I'm staying away from my home and my family to do your floors and to make a living, so you have to understand that it is going to cost substantially more for that. I do stay busy locally, but this is the first job that I have gotten strictly off TikTok videos, and it's about 3 hours from where I live. It was an old 1800s home. We're going through refinishing upstairs, downstairs, stair treads, everything. And this video is strictly just going to be the upstairs and what I had to deal with. So you can see what I started with. Most of it was completely painted. I couldn't even tell you what the species was when I first started. When I actually came down to look at the job and do an estimate for it, I actually just assumed that it was going to be heart pine, just like back home. But this will actually show you back in the early days, 1800s, all then, around that time frame, that they would use whatever hardwood that they had on the land that they were building the home is what they would use on their floors, interior, everything else. This right here, I get a lot of questions to, what are you sitting on when you're edging? And that's actually called an edger dolly, and it's got a hook for the hose, adjustment for the seat and the height, and it also, the newer ones I pointed down to the bottom, it actually comes with a platform on them now, and American Sanders actually owns it and sells the rights to it now. Before they didn't, it actually was a company called Edger Dolly, and I got some of one of the first ones. And you can just see on this job what I'm dealing with. A lot of the paint is extremely hard getting off. It doesn't go very far. Every time I'm hitting a nail, I mean, it just smooths the sandpaper out like nothing. So I'm constantly having to change paper because it's just not cutting or doing anything. And you can see here, when I finally get to the point of the power drive kind of smoothing out the floor, I literally have to go around the one section because it's got to be replaced. It's just damaged, tore up. And there I'm showing you where I'm actually running the steel plates, and this floor is not completely level. So, you know, I'm trying to get as flat as I can, but if I leave the steel plates on there on my final cuts, it will still dig into the floor like a big machine can. So I later had to take those off for like the final 2 passes. And you can see here, got to go through and replace that. I had to actually get 1 1/8 inch thick poplar boards. You know, stuff's not cheap getting it made that thick, and they made it for me in a week. So with this following week I came down here, I did replace them. They do not match perfectly, you can see that, and I do the best I can later in the video actually demonstrating how I dye the finish, trying to tone in the color and get what I need. I mean, could you get it to match perfect? You could, but you're going to need a ton of wood to pick through so you can get the grain, everything else best you can. And it's extremely hard because the stuff's not the easiest thing to come by in that thickness and having it readily available. But you can see there, the dye I'm using is actually bringing it together. I tinted it like 3 or 4 times, thin coats, different colors, just trying to tweak it and kind of get it to a green look. Here I wanted to show you, I use trans tint or mix-all, but if you want to buy these ones from Hobby Lobby, and I did this one because it was green, I haven't tried it. It actually said it was approved to go and finish. Clearly it was not. Instantly it turned the finish into cottage cheese, and under 60 seconds it was a solid. So don't use that one. I would stick with Transient or Mix-All. But once we go through here, get everything else sanded, sealed up, do a coat of finish, go through a braid the floor, final coat, and then here we are done. So this Poplar floor from 1815, all top nailed. There's no nails going into the groove, completely done. You see before and afters. You can see those 2 boards sticking out a little bit. I didn't want to make them too dark. They will get darker in time and match a lot better. And if you're kind of curious on what a square foot price is for this, for me, this entire house is $14 a square foot.